are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Hello, and welcome once again to another Tuesday where we are going to help you get financially fit. Another Tuesday where we are going to help you get financially fit and ready for a new understanding of how we. My apologies, little technical difficulties, but this is our way of sharing with you every Tuesday how we take care of you as a consumer, as a citizen, as a understanding that's going to help you get to that next level. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I am the Dress Down CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery, and it is a pleasure having you with us today. As always, Tuesdays is that day where we get to dive into the financial understandings that we have to do better. We have no other choice but to do better. And if we keep allowing for circumstances to keep us from doing better, then we're going to be and find ourselves exactly where we don't want to be. This is a necessary conversation. So I'm asking everybody, please grab that phone. Do what you must do, which is invite somebody. If you are here, invite somebody else to come in. One person, that's all I need. One person. I want to thank you always as a business or as a opportunity that's always been given to thank those who are doing what they do. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for Soul City, who makes it a understanding that we're here every single week to give you and deliver to you exactly what you need. Thank you to Yonkers Library. Thank you to my family and friends. Thank you to everyone. Primarily, thank you to the Creator for making this possible, because without him, this would not be possible. So again, if you haven't given thanks, go ahead and do that. But first and foremost, go ahead and invite somebody. Send out an invite to people and let them know, hey, he's back up again. He's doing what he does best, which is help you get connected with your understanding of what you are going to have to do. I'm going to make this abundantly clear. You're going to have to do more. Leverage Your Score is about making sure that you have all of the opportunities that will be afforded to you as, again, I said it last week, as the globe recovers. We are in a global recovery. We have to stop listening to those who claim that, oh, there's nothing, there's a recession, there's this, there's that, there's so forth. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on, but we're in a global recovery. And when you're in a global recovery, that means obviously those nations that are doing exactly as they should be doing, guess what? They're not going to feel the brunt of, not a long recovery. In the United States, I'm going to say it out. I'm going to put it out there. No matter who the president is, the United States Fed will not do anything to hurt this economy. They will not. We have a strong economy. If you are unsure about whether or not we have a strong economy, we're at 33,106. Okay, 33,106. We were hovering somewhere around the 30,000. So that means we've recovered some already. We were clearly higher than that. We were around 36,000. So we've lost a little bit. But as I stated, once this election cycle is over, guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen? What goes up must eventually come down. What comes down must eventually go back up. I'm telling you, people, let's get this together. A necessary conversation is being had, and I need you to be a part of that conversation. Questions, please do not hesitate. Drop them questions into that comment section. If you want to get out of whatever circumstance that you're in, you're going to have to do more for self. I said it today, and I'm going to constantly keep saying it. The experts are here. We are here. We are ready to give you everything that we can give you, whether we give it to you in this platform, which is completely 100% FREE. This is the free platform. Get that valuable information and run with it in the free platform. There's a charge platform as well, but get all what you can in the free platform. Go out and find a second opinion, third, fourth, whatever. But I'm telling you, you follow. Again, I give you this much information, so much. And all I'm asking you to do is that much. Okay, that's it. Let's jump right on into it. A necessary conversation. We're having it, folks. Correcting the narrative with your Leverage Credit Recovery CEO, Tyrone Glover. It is an honor. It is a joy. It is a pleasure to always be with you. And I am so grateful that I get this opportunity to share information that's going to help you get to that next level. Please don't sleep on this. Share, 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 share. I'm telling you, if we do in the next 2 months, November, December, I'm going to take it out to 3, January as well. If we do in the next 3 months with just orchestrating some form of a plan to succeed, I'm going to help you get to that understanding, that success. I'm going to help you. My wonderful colleague who is equally on this program or this channel as well, which is Soul City Network, Dr. Yana B. She's going to help you. That's Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse, Access Wealth Nation on Thursdays. Again, I'm just the foundation. I have other equally passionate individuals out there who are beyond the foundation. They want to help you erect them walls. They want to put that house together, but you got to have a foundation first. We have individuals who know exactly what to do, how to do it, and they're just as passionate as I am about doing it. So let's get out of our way and let's have this necessary conversation so that we can make sure that as the global recovery happens, you yourself can equally benefit from all of the opportunities that are going to be available to you. But you got to start somewhere, and we're starting it right here with a necessary conversation, correcting the narrative. All right, so we're going to be talking about today the 5 factors which affect your credit score. 5 factors which affect your credit score, understanding their relationship and their impact. All right, understanding that relationship and their impact, how each factor weighs on your credit score. And it's good to know these things because if you start with the basics of understanding, guess where you're going to be? You're going to be so much better when the new year comes around. If we start addressing, correcting, and making sure that we're staying on top with the follow-up, you're not going to have a problem. It's going to be so easy. And I'm talking to all income groups. If you are an income person who is in the 6 figures and you're still residing somewhere around the 600 credit score, you need somebody like myself to help you. If you're someone who is in that lower income bracket and you may have a 700 score, you still need to talk to someone like me because you might still be paying a heck of amount in interest. If you're someone who's mistaken about the inflation, I can show you a chart that would blow your mind. We had inflation back at some time that was 22%. This is not new for the United States of America. You want a cure for inflation? Drum roll, please. Stop shopping. There you are. Cure for inflation. Stop shopping because you're shopping way more than those who have way more money than you. They don't shop like we shop. They don't spend like we spend. We get it, and we have to go out and provide the necessities. They get it, and they get to hold on to it for a while, while they're letting it grow. Stop putting that money into these financial institutions that are not giving you anything back. I'm not saying put it under your mattress. I'm not saying put it in piggy banks. I'm saying be very, very wise and understanding about your relationship with your financial institution. And these 5 factors are going to help you with making sure that you're doing all that you can be doing to, again, understand the relationship and the impact. Because if you do that, it's going to help you with the recovery. All right. So What is a credit score? So a credit score is a number which lenders use to determine the risk of lending money to a given borrower. Just that simple. That's right there. You got it. Everything you need to know. What is a credit score? And the best thing about that is because you want these individuals to know that, hey, you're good or you're bad or you're in the middle. It does weigh, it does have an impact, it does have some, but you want to be in the best possible position to get credit at the lowest possible interest rate. You do not, let me repeat, you do not want to be paying all of this extra bread for something that you don't need to. If you haven't talked to a client today, if you haven't called your credit card company to find out whether or not your credit card company has lowered your interest rates, they're not going to do it by themselves. They're only going to do it when they have the opportunity to speak to you, and you have to enforce upon them. Hey, I've been with you for 10, 15, 20 years, and you haven't reached out and said, lower them scores? Come on now, people. We're giving that hard-earned bread away. We're giving it to companies. We're enriching others while we remain in our same circumstance. That doesn't make sense. So I need all of us to get more on board, on track with what makes sense. Because if you do, I'm telling you, this is a recovery. Recover. If you don't know how to recover, reach out to Soul City Network. Have them reach out to Leverage Credit Recovery. Have them reach out to equally Access Wealth Nation, Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse. We have some of the best individuals that all we want to do is make sure you get free information. And if you can't do it on your own, then we're here to step in and help you out. But first and foremost, let's educate you. Let's get you on that path to success. Or would you rather stay on the path to failure? Because if you do, it's okay. That's on you. It's okay. I can't help everybody, but I'm going to do my darndest to make sure that everybody has at least the information to help themselves. It's just that simple. It is just that simple. So credit card companies, auto dealers, and mortgage bankers are three types of lenders which will check your credit score before deciding how much they will lend. They are willing to lend you and at what interest rate. All right. So the higher your score, the more you've been taking care of your responsibilities, the lower that interest rate is going to be. And it's going to allow for you to get what you want when you want it at your desirable interest understanding. But you got to start somewhere. You have to have an understanding of how this works to your advantage. And when you do, you are now considered financially literate. You are now equally considered a valued consumer. I'm sure you've seen those commercials where they have the qualified leasees. You would then fall into that category of qualified. Let's get us to qualified. Let's get us to valued. Let's get us to these understandings that improve our financial standings. Insurance companies and landlords may also look at your credit score to see how financially responsible you are before issuing an insurance policy or renting an apartment. Okay, again, we know what the circumstances are out there. We've gone through, or we're still in the midst of this recovery. We've gone through a pandemic. And I can tell you, hopefully you all know, when was the last pandemic? 1918, over 100 years ago. All right. We didn't suffer a recession or small indicators that might have said, oh, we're this way, that way. We suffered a depression. We went from 400 down back to almost its inception, which was $30 when the stock market first opened back in 1896. Okay. We are nowhere near that today. And to be honest with you, we're never going to get back there again. Again, I keep telling you, it doesn't matter who's in charge of the government. It doesn't matter which head we have up at the top. They're not going to do anything to harm this United States government. And when I just told you, the stock market has been going up at least 25, 30 points already after hours. So come on. I'm not making this up. I'm not pulling this out of thin air. I'm not pulling it out of my wahoo. I'm giving it to you play by play. And as I said it earlier, I want you all on a winning team. You might not be the starting 5 or the starting 7 or whatever amount of individuals are on a football team, basketball team, baseball team, soccer team, it doesn't matter. But I want you on a winning team because guess what? Even though you're not a starter and you're on a winning team, you still walk away with a ring. So let's get this ring, everybody. Let's get this financial literacy ring so that we all can position ourselves far better. Because if we wait around, I'm telling you, what's going to happen? What are you going to wait for? Another pandemic? You wait for another election cycle? We can do this now, immediately. All we have to do is want it more than those who are presenting it to you. So here are the 5 biggest things which affect your score, how they affect your credit, and what it means when you apply for a loan. All right, so the first thing that has the biggest impact on your credit is your payment history. That is 35% of your overall credit score. 35% is that payment history. That means you got to pay on time. There's one key question lenders have on their mind when they give someone money. Will I get it back? That's it. They want to know, will I get it back? The most important component of your credit score looks at whether you can be trusted to repay funds that are loaned to you. This component of your credit score considers the following factors. All right, so this is paying on time. Paying on time. Even if you call them and tell them, hey, you know what, I'm not going to be able to pay on time, you're still giving them a heads up. You're negotiating new terms and conditions for this payment that is supposed to be coming on whichever the due date is. You're giving them a heads up, letting them know. They're still going to probably get you with a late fee, but at least it helps you with negotiating a new understanding as to when that payment's going to be there. But if you just say, you know what, I'm not even going to pay it. I'm going to pay it late when my resources come in. That's not a good way to do it. So have you paid your bills on time for each account? If you do that, that's an automatic 35 points. It's coming to you, 35. If you've paid late, how late? Were you 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? When you start getting into that 90-day understanding, your creditors are going to cut you off. I'm telling you right now, they're feeling the brunt and the misunderstanding of this COVID relationship. Again, you probably heard it. If you didn't, I'm telling it to you right now. Businesses are taking advantage. They know how to get over, and they're using this inflationary period to, get over on you. They're smart. They're savvy. They've been doing this for decades, and you've just been nothing but a piggy bank. But if you get to that 90-day, 120 days, you can almost guarantee they're going to cut you off. So let's not even put ourselves in that predicament. Let's make sure that we're paying right on time. Have any of your accounts been sent to collections? All right, so that means you've already gone past the 90, probably the 120, probably the 150. Now they've sent your items to collections. That's an area where you don't want to be. But even if you are there, that's where we come in and we can help you navigate through those particulars. It's not that challenging. It's actually pretty easy. So if I coach you, if I train you, if I educate you on how to do that, you're going to be able to do the exact same thing for those who are within your immediate circles. And that's how this whole conversation should be had. Me addressing it to you, whoever me might be. Me could be somebody that you know who also does this. I'm not here to compete with anybody. I'm here to give you the best of what I'm able to give you so that you can get out of whatever financial situation that you're in. But if I'm not your best and you know another person who can do it better than I, by all means, find that individual, have them do it, or you do it with that individual. But don't sit on these understandings. Do not waste your time. Do not think about giving that bread to somebody else. You have to make sure that you're doing it for yourself, because if you do, you're going to be able to respond in any manner, no matter whether going up, down, sideways, left, or right. All right. Do you have any charge-off, debt settlements, bankruptcies, foreclosures, lawsuit, wage garnishment, or attachment liens, or public judgments against you? Those 6 things right there are things that you do not want to have on your credit profile. But if they're there, it's okay. That means there was some circumstances that prevented you from meeting your contractual obligations. So it's now my opportunity to help you with renegotiating, navigating, correcting, and getting full advantage of this recovery. You're not the only one. There are other people out there that are equally going through the same thing. At the end of this year, we'll have 8 billion people on the face of the planet. The United States has currently 330 plus million people in this country. You think you're the only one? Well, I'm sorry to have to pop that bubble. You're not the only one going through these circumstances. So get out of your way and start putting your financial understanding first and foremost, because it's going to free up a lot of your other issues that you may have with inside that household, with inside that circle, with inside these understandings. All right, the time since your last negative event and the frequency of missed payments affect the credit score deduction. All right, you got to make sure that you're not doing this on a regular basis, because credit should always be going in an upwards trajectory. Let me say that one more time. Credit should always be going in an upwards trajectory. If you're using these third-party understandings like Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, whoever else is out there, Privacy Guard, Identity IQ, there's a lot of them. 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 If you don't know how to hold these individuals accountable to your success, what you're doing is only going to hurt you. I'm here to tell you, I've been doing this for 30 plus years. I bring so much wealth and understanding to this that, again, it's only going to benefit you. It's only going to benefit you. Those with the most experience, those with the most up-to-date understanding as to how we can navigate through these particulars, it's only going to help you. It's only going to help you. All right. So the first part and most important part, because that's 35% of your overall credit score. You don't hit this one, or you don't hit this next one. Okay. The next one is amounts owed. That's 30%. So just think about that from just a little small moment. Just think about that. 35 and 30%. That's a passing grade. That's 65%. So automatically you are already in a position where you should technically see your credit score might be going up marginally. But if I hit those two areas, my credit score should start going up. All right. So the amount owed. So you might make all your payments on time. Congratulations. But what if you're about to reach a breaking point? FICO scores consider your credit utilization rate, which is amount owed. So if you hear credit utilization rate, that all it's saying is the amount that you owe, which measures how much debt you have compared to your available credit limit. The second most important component looks at the following factors. Right. So it's always something that ties in that helps you with, okay, now I understand how this affects me. So how much of your total available credit have you used? So again, credit is always a 50-50 type of understanding. When you start using it, it's going to go up. It's going to go up. It's going to go up. And you have to eventually bring it back down to that starting point, which is zero. All right. So if I borrow and I have a limit, that limit could be $1,000. If I start using it, that means my utilization is going to go up. That means I'm using what's available to me, and I have to bring it back down. There is a mathematical understanding that, again, you're not dealing with people. You might be dealing with customer service when you call and have a concern or a question, but for the most part, you're dealing with algorithms and computers. Okay? Algorithms and computers. They're not your friends. They are designed for the business. And I'm telling you, they didn't put you in mind, which like, okay, wait a minute, let's help the consumer. Absolutely not. They're going to make sure that their bottom line is taken care of prior to yours. All right. But if you're doing your part, if you meet those two areas, those critical two areas, that's 65% of your overall credit score. What are you waiting for? Those two areas. What are you waiting for? How much do you owe on specific types of accounts, such as mortgage, auto loans, credit cards, and installment accounts? Now, installment accounts, they have a different understanding that utilization will remain not the same as you make your payments. Obviously, that utilization goes down, but it doesn't have the same impact as your revolving understandings, your credit cards. Anything that starts off with a balance goes up, and then month by month, it's just changing as to how you're using that method or that it's called the means of exchange. All right. So it depends on how you're using it. Revolving is the ones that are going to have that major impact about this 30% because, as I stated, it's revolving. Your installment accounts, such as a mortgage or an auto loan, these are accounts that remain the same. The payment doesn't never change, but it does, again, affect your overall utilization. But as I stated, it won't have that much of an impact because the computers and the algorithms that are more or less giving you that grade, they're going to be looking primarily at those revolving accounts. All right. But everything still weighs the same when it comes to making that payment. Make sure you're paying on time. How much do you owe in total and how much do you owe compared to the original amount on installment accounts? All right. So as I was talking about those installment accounts, auto loans, mortgages, things that are the same amount every single month, those are called installment accounts. Revolving accounts are like your credit cards, those with logos on it, MasterCard, Visa, Discovery, even those without logos on it. You might have a gas card. You might have a shopping card, say, from Old Navy or Banana Republic or Gap. I use those because that's the Fishers, and they own all three of those. You might have a store card from Walmart or from Sam's Club. I use those because that's the Waltons. Yes. You might have a variety of different cards, and they don't necessarily have to have that logo. They're just specific to the entity that you may frequent the most. I was just helping a client today, and she had a BP card. She had a Shell card. She had a lot of stuff, but hey, doesn't matter. She still needed my assistance to help her create a plan that was going to allow for her to have that credit score start going into the area in which she would now be benefiting. She's benefiting, but how are you benefiting if you get a new card and they're going to charge you 18, 19, 20%? But yet you're meeting all of the particulars. You're paying on time. You might not be bringing down that utilization to its appropriate level. As you can see here, 30% is the appropriate level for the understanding of FICO. Now, FICO, in my opinion, again, they need a little bit more adjustment. They need to work with people like myself to get on point, because even when I call their customer service location, they couldn't answer the basic credit questions. So FICO, what's going on with you guys? All right. So there you have it. 2 areas in which you can get the biggest bang for your buck. But if you miss one of those areas, I'm going to tell you, from the remaining 3 areas, you're not going to be able to make it up. You're not going to be able to make up either one of these first or the second area if you do not hit that understanding. You will not be able to make it up from the remaining 3. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. I wish it did. It's not going to. All right. And we'll touch on how that doesn't work. All right. So the number 3 area in which you should be focusing is your length of credit history. How long have you had credit? If you're in the age group of myself and you're looking at 2, 5, 10, 15 years, you got to go back to those individuals. And you got to say, hey, what's going on here? I'm 55 years old. Why do I have 2 years of credit? That's a concern and a question and a problem that needs to be addressed, because if you have already been in the market serving the credit market, but yet it's not reflecting as such, that means somebody is taking advantage of you. You got to get better at that. So here's number 3 area, length of credit. This is 15%. So let's think about that. I got 35 for paying on time. I got 30 for making sure that I bring down that understanding. I cannot be maxed up. So that means I can't make a minimum payment. That's not going to help me bring it down to where it needs to be. So I got to bring that down at least as far as 30%. And if your credit score is below a certain number, you might have to bring it down just a little bit more. But what you do not want to do is you do not want to leave it with a 0 balance. Now, that might be helping some people, and I'll talk about that in another show, how that takes care of those individuals, because they've had a track record of everything being, the system, in other words, has caught up to them. They've caught up to the system. So now they can do that 0 because they have a longevity understanding. Those of you who have had credit concerns and issues, you don't have that longevity understanding. So you cannot max it out, bring it down to 0. Max it out, bring it down to 0. There is a relationship that you should have had is not there yet. All right? It's not there, and that's okay. We're creating a plan to allow for you to create that relationship that's going to have longevity. All right? That's ultimately what we want. Your credit score also takes into account how long you've been using credit. For how many years Have you had obligations? How old is your oldest account, and what is your average age of all your accounts? Now, they did change some things. When you start getting new credit, again, completely disagree with how they were able to orchestrate this into a understanding. I completely disagree. And Equifax, TransUnion, Experian will eventually have to deal with what I disagree with. Because trust me, as I stated, we as consumers will eventually have the understanding that we need to definitely take the actions if Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian continue to keep abusing us consumers with the deception, with the lies, and with all of the manipulation. Again, you're not dealing with people. If you had people that you could talk to, be a whole different story. You're talking to an individual who has zero power. Customer service individuals have zero power. Zero. They might be able to talk a mean talk. They might be able to give you some comforting words, but they still have zero power. You need to be in the hands of somebody who can give you a decision, or you need to be able to speak so eloquently that you can get those individuals to run over and get the supervisor so that you can get the decision that you're looking for. All right. So again, long credit history is helpful if it's not marred. All right. That means by late payments. If it's not scarred, marred by late payments or other negative items. But a short history can be fine too, as long as you've made your payments on time and don't owe too much. All right, so the longer the better, as long as it doesn't have a whole bunch of stuff in there. And even a short one is good, as long as you've met the terms and conditions of your contract relationship with your lenders. This is why personal finance experts always recommend leaving credit card accounts open, even if you don't use them anymore. Now, that's something that I would probably say, negotiate. Find somebody who can. Why would you have somebody who can say good things about you, but you're not letting them say good things about you? It's just that simple. If you got good credit and you're looking to continue to keep good credit, but you're not using the credit that you have, negotiate with somebody. Say, hey, you know what? I got this credit card over here. Obviously, it has to be a trusting individual, someone who already does. This would make you then an authorized user. And that's another conversation for a whole nother day. I'm telling you, that part of life is going to change the way that we think about credit completely when you start really diving into the authorized users, which I can help you out tremendously with that. All right. This is why personal finance experts always recommend leaving credit card accounts open, even if you don't use them anymore. The account age by itself will help boost your score. Again, think about that. The account age. So the length of your credit will help you go up. All right. Close your older accounts and you could see your overall score decline. All right. You can do, again, if you've reached out to a credit card company and that credit card company says, oh, we don't want to touch your interest rate. We want to leave it right where it is. And you've been with them 5, 10, 15, you can even say 6 months or a year or two. If you want them to work with you, then you have to reach out to them and say, hey, I've been with you some time frame now, but yet we are not seeing eye to eye on how this works. I can tell you right now, if you decide to leave a credit card company, you'll find another credit card company that will give you 0% for 12 months, 24 months. Some of them will be even through 36 months. Again, you got to set the terms and conditions, but those terms and conditions are going to be determined by how you've created those relationships prior to. So you got 3 areas already, 35%, 30%, now 15. So 35 and 30, that's 65, add another 15. I'm now at 80. I'm so good right now. I'm in a win-win type of situation because I've met all 3 of the top 3 categories. There's still 2 more to go. So you're at 85 right now. That's an upwards trajectory. Upwards trajectory. That means I'm doing everything. I'm meeting those understandings. But there can also be some things that will harm you. So these last 2 categories could equally take away from that overall 80 that you have right now. Let's dive in and see what those are. All right, new credit. Are you out there inquiring? Are you out there inquiring? Are you out there inquiring? Are you out there saying, please give me credit, please give me credit, please, 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 please? Don't. That's desperation. If you're not where you need to be, let's get you to where you need to be so that you can stop being out there desperately asking individuals to give you credit when you know your circumstances might not add up. We got to make sure it all adds up. We got to make sure it all makes sense, because if it does, I'm telling you, you're not going to have problems obtaining the credit or the opportunities that are out there that are available to every single person based on their understanding of how they're managing their finances. All right, 10%. New credit is 10%. So we're at 80. Now we're at 90. Holy cow. Yes, you can get 90 points. You might not get every bit. So again, you might get 87. You might get 83. You might get 84, 85. But again, you're still far better off than getting 0, because you're not meeting none of the understandings. You're still better off with seeing your credit go up versus your credit going down month after month after month after month, because you don't have an understanding. But your FICO score considers how many new accounts you have. It looks at how many new accounts you have applied for recently and when the last time you opened a new account was. Right? They're using this part against you. They're actually taking, if you get a new card, they're actually taking that year, they're dividing it amongst the years that you have, and that will lower your overall credit because of the fact that they're not taking into consideration that they should keep your years of credit as high as they possibly can, but they're now reducing it if you decide to get a new credit card. Yeah, that sounds a bit shady, and I agree with you. I agree 100%. That sounds a bit shady. If I get a new credit card, nothing should reduce anything. It should all stay the same. As long as I meet the contractual obligation and the understanding of that new credit card, why am I going to get hit with reduction because I decided I want to have a new credit card, but yet I'm meeting every single matrix or guideline that's out there for me to meet? That's why I'm saying somebody like myself and you, with all of the information that we compile, we're able to then take it to Equifax, TransUnion, Experian and say, ain't happening. And if they don't want to respond favorably to our request, then we can do what we should have done decades ago, which is class action lawsuit. You want to put the fire to these individuals? Class action lawsuit. And I'm such a smart person, I'm such an intelligent person, I'm such an astute person about business that we would orchestrate this class action lawsuit to where these businesses cannot write it off. They will not be able to write off this class action lawsuit because we're going to orchestrate it as such that they cannot. We need them to feel the brunt of their abuse of us, the consumer. We need them to understand that they will no longer be able to abuse us and then capitalize off of that abuse. It's not going to happen. And this is why I'm doing this. I'm going to be doing this for the next foreseeable until that man calls my name, pulls that card and says, hey, I need you for another understanding. But as of right now and for the foreseeable, this necessary conversation will be had, and it will be had every Tuesday, it will be had every day of the week if necessary. But we got to get on point, on the same accord when it comes to how we're managing and dealing with our finances. And it's going to start right here with this credit understanding. We're on we're on item number 4 of how to keep that score going in an upward trajectory. Whenever you apply for a new line of credit, lenders typically do a hard inquiry, also called a hard pull. So that means you are now asking a lender for credit. So they're going to do a hard pull or a hard inquiry, which is the process of checking your credit information during the underwriting process. This is different from a soft inquiry, like retrieving your own credit information. So if you go to Credit Sesame, or if you go to Credit Karma, or if you go to Identity IQ, or if you go to any of the variety third parties that are out there to look at your credit score, that is considered a soft credit pull. And let me remind you, these are third party companies. They're making money off of you. Okay. So their information should be accurate. You would hope. It's not. One more time. They're making money off of you and their information should be accurate, but it is not. Should you be giving them more money? Absolutely not. Okay. Believe me when I tell you, and if anyone wants to challenge me, and I've asked them all, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, Discovery, all of you third-party credit reporting companies, please, I'm asking, I'm begging you, I'm on my hands and knees praying. You want to challenge my information? Please come on the show. I'm inviting all of you onto the show at any time you want to. I'll bring you in at any moment of the day. You want to challenge me? Then please, by all means. If you think I'm saying anything that's going against your business or is harming your business, please talk to me. Let's correct it, because I know that I'm not. I know exactly everything that I'm saying is probably 99.999999999% 100. correct. Correct. Because I have not been challenged. I have not been stepped to yet. Why? Because you would be so smoothly embarrassed by your own. Again, I go to Maxine Waters, Financial Committee. I go to Maxine Waters. I look at all of the congressional understandings that you yourselves have put out there in your own words as to why you keep violating and abusing consumers. That's why you won't challenge me. So that's why I'm asking all consumers, stop believing what these individuals are saying. Stop believing the narrative that has been put out there and start doing what you know you should be doing to protect your financial understanding. Period. There you have it. Number 4, hard pulls can cause a small and temporary decline in your credit score. Why? And I'm going to show you in just a minute some of those declines that come from these 5 understandings. The score assumes that if you've opened several accounts recently and the percentage of these accounts is high compared to the total number, you could represent a greater credit risk. That again falls into that desperation area. I'm applying, and then I'm not getting. That's desperation. So let's not put ourselves in that type of an understanding, because people tend to do so when they are experiencing cash flow problems or planning to take on lots of new debt. All right. So this is why you don't want to look desperate to anyone. No one, not when it comes to this credit. No more than 4 credit inquiries per year. Just that simple. If you're applying that much, then there's a problem, and you need someone like Leverage Credit Recovery, CEO, dressed down CEO Tyler. You need someone like me to help you navigate and give you a better understanding. No, don't do this. Let's focus on doing this. And there's a way to get around these soft inquiries, and that's called with a secured credit card. And we'll talk about that again on another show. All right, and the 5th and final point is types of credit used. All right, types of credit. You need to know what types of credit you are using. You got to have a tossed salad, a mixture of different credit understandings. All right, this is 10%. So we went from 35 to 30, added another 15, put on there another 10, and now we're adding another 10. So that's 100. Overall, the percentage is 100. So you should technically be always seeing your credit score going in an upward trajectory. And if I'm doing everything right, why is it going up 2 points, 5 points, 6 points, 1 point, 2 point? But then when I do something wrong, 50 points, 80 points, 120 points, how is that? Oh, would it possibly be that these companies have set it up so that we take more hit to the negative than we do to the positive? Oh, is it about that they're protecting their bottom line and not ours? So that means we have to do more to protect our bottom line against these egregious habitual abusers. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And I have to unfortunately throw one more entity right into that mix, and that would be the CFPB. Love them to death, appreciate them. I love what they do for us, but they're not enforcing enough. Just that simple. Not enforcing enough. CFPB, I am willing to help you. All right. The final thing, the FICO, which is Fair Isaac Corporation formula, considers in determining your credit score is whether you have a mix of different types of credit, such as credit cards, again, revolving items, store cards, revolving. These prices or these amounts change from month to month, depending on how you're using your card. Installment loans, your mortgage, your auto loan, some forms of lines of credit may also equally fall into this category. Again, mortgage, falls into the installment category because that price is the same every single month. Every single month. Since this is a small component of your score, don't worry if you don't have accounts in each of these categories. And most of us will not have a mortgage. Most of us will not have an auto loan, but we will have some form of a credit card. We will have some form of a store card. We will have some means to be able to do the transactions outside of just using our debit or our cash. And if you're using debit and cash that frequently, you definitely need to be focusing on getting you some credit cards, secured credit cards. As I say, we'll talk about that in another show, but it's really important. If you can't get unsecured cards, then you need to be focusing on secured credit cards. You're already spending that money. You're already going to the ATM machine, taking out money. You're already using your debit card that, wait a minute, has a logo on it. Why? Because they want to give you the same flexibility and the freedom of being able to use that card while you pay your bills online, while you shop very liberally if you choose to. But it's still not a credit card and it's not reporting to your credit understanding. All right, you got to do better, folks. These shows are for that purpose, and that purpose only is to help you do better. Because if you do better, I'm telling you right now, if you focus on doing better, when this recovery comes to a full, not full stop, because I think we're always going to be in a position where we're recovering from something, but as long as you are in that process, as long as you have a plan to recover, you will never have a plan to fail. All right. Since, again, this is a small component to your credit score, don't worry if you do not have accounts in each of these categories, and don't open new accounts just to increase your credit mix of credit types. So you don't necessarily have to do that. But again, the average consumer should have somewhere between 5 and 8 credit products. The average consumer, single individual, 5 to 8 credit products. And the family, 2 individuals, mom and a dad, should have at least 8 to 12 credit products. All right. That's 5 to 8 credit products for a single person. And credit products doesn't necessarily mean just credit cards. It means a variety, a nice mix. Same thing with when it comes to that household, that mother and father. 8 to, so there's 8 to 12 credit products. All right. Good luck, everybody. I know you can do this. I know you can do this. I know you can do this. Again, I gave you the layout, the understanding, the foundation to create the ideal financial situation for yourself. And it starts with how you manage your credit. And if you do exactly, again, a lot of information. All I want you to do is this much. Because if you do this much, I'm telling you, you'll open up doorways. You'll start, the opportunities will be, they will be knocking at the door. I'm telling you, we are in a global recovery. Stop listening to those who are not talking to you. I'm talking directly to you. Middle class, poor, African Americans, Hispanics, white folks, Asians, Middle Eastern, it does not matter your ethnicity. If you reside and live in these 50 United States, Hawaii, Alaska, okay, if you reside and live here, we can help you. We can help you. You know what's so funny? We can help even individuals in other countries because Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, they are a global entity as well. So they're in other countries as well. And guess what? Wow, so fascinating. They use credit too in other countries. All right, they might have a different scoring mechanism, but it's all the same. Everywhere you go, it's still the same. We mimic the same understandings no matter where you go. All right, but I'm here in the United States, and I'm here to make sure that every single citizen, consumer who resides in these 50s, right here on the United States of America, again, Alaska, Hawaii, our neighboring countries, not countries, but our neighboring islands down there in the Florida region, New Mexico, excuse me, not New Mexico, but not Cuba, the Virgin Islands down there, all of those Jamaican places and those places where I haven't been yet, but I got to go. My nieces keep telling me the cruises are so awesome. But yes, those islands as well that are territories related to us. Same understanding. Start working on this credit, and I want you to start working on it tomorrow. Calling those lenders, asking them these particular questions, and I'll be setting up an area where you can ask those questions, where you can get these questions answered. As I said, a necessary conversation, and it will be had every opportunity that we get to increase your knowledge about what you're going to have to do to equally recover as this globe recovers. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And I hope everybody gets out and votes, because that makes the process a little bit easier if we have some legislators that are working with us versus having legislators that will be working against us. But as I stated earlier, it doesn't matter who's the head. It doesn't matter who is the head. It could be a Republican head. It could be a Democratic head. Congress ultimately has to write the legislation, but ultimately who's going to make sure that this works for everybody? That's the feds. That's the feds. The more you know about the feds, and people are trying to get rid of them and they want to move in another direction, whatever the case may be, I'm here to tell you right now, nothing's going to be changing in the foreseeable. All right. So in the foreseeable prior to, let's do what we have to do to make sure that we are financially secure, fit, stable, and literate. So let's take a look at what isn't in your score. So what is it that they don't look at when it comes to your score? The following information is not considered in determining your credit score according to FICO. All right. So what's in it? What's not in it? All right. So you got marital status, age. Okay. These things do not, what quantifiable understanding do they have to be in a credit score? None, zero. So don't think that these apply. They do not apply. Your age, race, color, religion, national origin, receipts of public assistance, salary, occupation, employment history, and employer. Now that one could have an impact, because if you don't get a particular job or a raise or an increase or whatever it is that you might want to have, it might be tied to your credit. So they may use that as a negative against you, but technically by law, they're not supposed to. Where you live. I noticed I've lived in California, had a good credit score, moved to New York, watched that credit score get hit. Lived in Hawaii, had a modest credit score, moved to California. I watched that score go down before it went back up. I've traveled around the United States and have opportunities to live in different states, and I've watched up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down as I move from state to state. So yes, your state has an impact on your credit. Your address has an impact on your credit. Employment opportunities that are listed on your credit have an impact. So a lot of the stuff that's on your credit, your addresses that are on your credit, the only one that should be on your credit profile is the one that's on your driver's license. Anything else can come off. Phone numbers that are on your credit card don't need to be there. They can come off. Again, looking at these minute, small little pieces that you think may not have an impact, telephone numbers, employers, and addresses, and names that do not belong to you. These are the things, again, that are on your driver's license. You remove those, you can probably see your score go up 60 points. That's all it is, a phone call. That's all it is a phone call. And when it's not removed, you call them right back. Hey, you didn't do what I asked you. Contractual understandings. You're in a contractual understanding with your lender. Your lender is in a contractual understanding with these CRAs, which is credit reporting agencies. That means you are equally in a binding contractual relationship, and things must happen according to the laws. Accuracy, 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 accuracy. If it's not accurate, then somebody's violating your consumer rights. If it's not accurate, just that simple, not that hard to understand. That's why you need individuals like myself who have dove so deep into the understanding. Not only can we talk about it, we can make sure that it's being executed on your behalf. But you got to want it more than we do. You have to want it more than those who are giving of their time to make sure that this information gets out to every single soul. All right, so why lenders look at your credit score? So why do they look at your credit score? When you apply for a mortgage, the lender would like to, the lender will look at your total existing monthly debt obligations as part of determining how much mortgage you can afford. Makes perfect sense. If you have recently opened up several new cards account, this might indicate you are planning to go on a shopping spree, again, in the near future. Makes perfect sense. You might not be able to afford the monthly mortgage payment the lender has estimated you are capable of making. So in this particular scenario, you definitely, if you're looking to buy a house, you definitely don't want to be going out getting new credit cards because that's going to send the wrong signal. Yeah, you might want to buy furniture and new appliances and retrofit the new house. But if I'm buying the mortgage, I don't want to do that at the same time. I want to wait till after I actually have the property and the amount that I'm going to be paying. Then this way, if I choose to, now I got some form of equity. Now I have something that I possess. You might not have equity in the first month or the second month, but now you have something that you can build upon. You are now put into a category where you have an asset. All right. As an asset creates opportunities. All right. Lenders can determine what to lend you based on something you might do, but they can use your credit score to gauge how much of a credit risk you might be. All right. So they can't make a determination on what you might do, but they can use all of your information to gauge whether or not you are a credit risk. All right. FICO scores only take into account your history of hard inquiries and new lines of credit for the past 12 months. So try to minimize how many times you apply for and open new lines of credit within a year. All right. That's why I said 4. That's all you need. 4. You don't want to be out there inquiring and inquiring and inquiring, inquiring. That's not cool. That's like asking someone out on a date over and over and over and over and over and over and over. At some point, that person's going to look at you like, you creepy, bro. All right. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Okay. However, rate shopping and multiple inquiries related to auto and mortgage loans will generally be counted as a single inquiry, since the assumption is that consumers are rate shopping, not planning to buy multiple cars or homes. In this particular scenario, I want you all to be very, 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 very careful. Now, I know for the fact that the auto dealers, they could care less. They will run your credit over and over and over and over and over and over and over, thinking that they're doing you a favor. And this portion here where it says it will be seen, generally be counted as one single, again, that word that should stand out to everyone is generally. You're dealing with a computer. You think that Equifax, TransUnion, Experian put into the computer's algorithm and it said, make sure that you do not, on any given day where there's more than one credit inquiry, that you only count all of them as a singular item. You think that's what they wrote in there? I can tell you that that's not what they did. Now, on the mortgage side, completely different because you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars. All right. So there they might have put that information in there. But I can tell you right now, for that auto loan, for that credit card, for that line of credit that you may have taken out, nope, it's going to have a negative impact, and it's going to have a multiple negative impact depending on how many times you inquire. So be very, very careful in this area. Auto dealers already know where you are. There's no reason for them to keep running your credit. So when you go to an auto dealer, whether you do it in November, December, January, wait for the new year to come into full swing. If you're thinking about an auto purchase, please make sure that you bring a copy of your credit report so that should they, which they will, pull your copy, verify both of them, and the best thing to do, pull it the day before. So that way you know and they know you're not dealing with Joe Stupid. And if you're like me, you're probably already decided, I want this type of a car, I want this type of interior, I want this sunroof, or I want these special features. You've already done your homework, so you are now ready. This is just preparation. This is what this is. As I tell all my students, K through 12 is preparation. We're preparing you for life. What I'm doing here is I'm preparing you for the inevitable of using credit in the manner in which is going to be more responsible on your behalf. This way it makes you more approachable, more valued as a consumer. If you follow these steps, I'm telling you, if you follow these basic understandings, you're going to put yourself in a situation where it's going to work out for you. Oh my goodness. Time sure flies when you're having fun. And trust me when I tell you, we are having fun. I will continue this next week. So let's talk about real quick, how can you get in touch with me? Contact details. My name again is Tyrone Glover. I am the Dress Down CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. My telephone number is 805-428-9424. I have a contact information link tree. So that's linktr.ee/leverage credit recovery. You can also send me an email at leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. I'm available on most social media sites, TikTok, Instagram, Tumblr, as well as Twitter. Yes, Twitter. Ugh. But we'll talk about that again on another day. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm always impressed. I'm always amazed and super excited about being able to do this. I love Tuesdays. Not only do I get to spend time with my students, I get to spend time with some of the best people in the whole wide world, and that is you. I love you. I appreciate you. I want you all to be financially stable, successful. I want you to all have the best opportunities that this United States can offer to you. And the only way to get there is you're going to have to do more for self. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I'm the Dress Down CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. Everybody, appreciate you, love you. Get out and vote. If you did not vote, please vote. These elections are critical. Thank you very much, everybody. Be safe, travel well, and until next time, a necessary conversation is being had. Love you.